This is about the TCG, which is only Generation 7 and not about Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's only always bring back the national decks. Okay, cool, but this is just being a jerk. This is just being rude. This is just being toxic. Like, yeah, I don't give a...
Woo! 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 Okay. We have something to unpack here. First of all, Verlisify 3. A third one, because I want views. Yeet. Second of all, Verlisify. Oh, you hypocritical jerk. You mind-numbingly boring, hypocritical, human trash bag. You're calling the Pokemon community jerks and toxic. I think you've ascended being a hypocrite. You've somehow gone to a level of such, I don't know how to put it, dumbness? Like, you're constantly criticizing the Pokemon community for being horrible and toxic, and yet you're literally the main reason why. And also, I swear to God, he has one good point in this. Stop doing the hashtag bring back the national decks. You're gonna ask Game Freak, a company who's, well, not doing great, I don't think. You know, a lot of people have been complaining that they're prioritizing original projects over Pokemon, which they're a company. You don't expect Nintendo to only focus on Mario, do you? No, you don't. So they're criticizing the national decks because there is none. Game Freak does not have the time to make front and back sprites for every single Pokemon in existence. They do not have time to animate every single move, Z move, Mega Evolution, Dynamax move. Like, how dumb do you have to be to think that Game Freak can just fit all this into a tiny little Switch cartridge? Because they can't. Stop judging Pokemon. Stop. I'm just angry at everyone who's talking about the national deck stuff. It just makes me mad.
Crap about whatever you say, bring back national decks. And then we just have the NPC nobodies tweeting out nonsense, parroting all of this garbage. It's ridiculous. And then just idiocy. No excuses. Game Freak hasn't made any
No excuses? Maybe the fact that Game Freak doesn't have unlimited storage on the Switch.
excuses. Their philosophy for what they want for Pokemon moving forward is the belief that all of the Pokemon inside of a Pokemon game doesn't work because there's too many of them. Over 900 Pokemon takes away from the game.
Actually, there's over 1,000, according to an interview with Masuda.
So it's better to refine that and then have a more enjoyable experience through not having all the clutter and being able to appreciate everything inside the games. I'm full on with that decision, and then Pokemon Home is going to be an upgraded Pokemon bank, so your Pokemon that aren't in the games are still very respected. Don't see how that's an excuse, but whatever. And then it still comes back to Game Freaks being lazy, which is what we're getting at here. Some fans are calling it the Dexit, others are making a reference to the Thanos snap, even though most of the Pokemon are going to be in Galar, so that's...
Yeah, that's debatable, but alright.
Even inaccurate, and at least one Pokemon aficionado has made the mistake of saying to include all the monsters, it would only take 5 minutes each. In turn, motivated artists on Twitter show off what 5 minutes of work actually looks like, and here's the guy. Original in Japanese, it's possible to make 5 minutes of Pokemon graphics. It can be done in about 60 hours because 5 minutes times 800 animals. I have to say that I can even do that. I'm not qualified to get paid if I do, I'll be working for free. Pokemon is...
This person's tweeting out that it'll take them 60 hours to make front and back sprites for every single Pokemon. And they can do that in 5 minutes? Here's the thing. I went into Blender because I'm trying to get into 3D animation and 2D animation. And I cannot figure out how to make... I was watching the tutorials for 3 hours. I was watching the one with a donut. I don't know how to make a circle. Even if you're a experienced 3D artist, 3D animator, you would know that it takes more than 5 minutes to make a model.
over. So because Game Freak didn't work, for 900, because, they have to make completely new models as well, so 5 minutes times 900, whatever, but, Game Freak just wants to have a more refined Pokemon experience, and that's why Pokemon is over. So that started the hashtag, and then we're just seeing all kinds of silliness like this. We're going to break that down, but also shows another inaccuracy, because everyone is just trying to find any little reason and then say, this is it, this proves Game Freak is in the wrong, this proves Game Freak is lazy, and they need to be boycotted or something like that. So I had this from Jinx Club.
Wow. Verlisify, I think you might have said one good thing. Ugh. It pains me to say this, but for once, Verlisify has a good point. It's so weird to say. I don't think anyone in the actual Earthness has ever said that. I don't think that phrase has ever been uttered. Let's continue, I guess. If this is real life, or is this just fantasy, caught in a landslide, an escape from reality?
They have not decided whether to patch the rest of the Pokemon, there is clearly still hope. Now,
oh my god!
Check it out. Few more bricks right here. Yeah, trying to get past that.
I don't care!
Now, even with patching Pokemon, I don't think they're going to, patch the rest in X amount of months later. They might do, 1 or 2 patches, at least expand the decks, but I don't think they're still going to have every Pokemon available. It just ruins competitive. There's no way of making it work, even with,
Oh, we know your opinions on competitive, Verlisify. We understand your feelings on the fact that if a person can be good at competitive Pokemon, that means they're hacking, they're a horrible person, they're lying to their fans. Oh my gosh, it's a children's game. Calm down. Okay, Verlisify? I need to calm down too, but I'm not going to calm down until you understand that it's a children's game. It's Pokemon. It's somehow your job. I don't see how, saying your videos barely ever break 10,000 views. And you have, what's that, 500,000 subscribers? Maybe if you made content, they would come back.
the Pentagon and Clover symbols. I did a video proving why that failed completely in Generation 6 and 7. So, that's the thing. But here we go. The Japanese community doesn't even understand why the overseas community is so angry. Now, I've only heard the opposite rhetoric. I've been seeing people saying, oh, people in Japan are just as outraged. This is unacceptable.
No, because they have better things to work on, I think. And a lot of us don't. Because I think my teacher in the 7th grade once said that in Japan, the Japanese schools or whatever, they don't have very long, they have extremely short summers, and we have months of doing nothing. So I think it could be reasonable that they have better things to do.
For Game Freak from everyone, but it sounds like, according to Pokemon Matome, it's not that case. That they're looking at us like, wow, look at these entitled American brats. They're upset.
Oh, you mean you?
But they know how to be more respectful about it, and they're not as upset because they can also understand what Game Freak is doing behind it. But I've also seen this. Someone puts a render that shows polygons of Pikachu and then says that they're a graphic artist. So automatically, this guy knows more than Game Freak. He's right. Game Freak's wrong. This proves them. That just shows more of the idiocy that people keep latching onto,
Verlisify, again, has a good point. Game Freak's not going to hire you. And even though the games are still in development and they're not coming out till November, they don't have time to do this. They have other things to worry about, like Pokemon Generation 10, because I know for a fact that Generation 9 is already wrapped up. So, let Game Freak be Game Freak. Let them do this. Let them just make the game. You're going to criticize it, and then when it comes out, you're going to say how bad this is. And then in 2 years, you're going to be like, wow, that was the best game ever. You do that to everything. You hated Sun and Moon. You hated Ultra Sun and Moon. Looking back, they were great games. You hated X and Y. Looking back, it was a pretty great game. You hate Gen 5. Gen 5 is an amazing game. Stop. You're just repeating the cycle. You know that in a few years, you're going to look back and be like, wow, Those were some of the greatest Pokemon games of all time. Huh. Okay, so what's coming out? Generation 9? Time to start hating it. Like, that's literally the Pokemon community. I don't get this.
This whole thing about, the thing only getting bigger, I think about the Pokemon subreddit. Pokemon subreddit is more active than it's ever been. If you make just the right meme about the no national dex, you will have like one of the top 10 most upvoted posts in the entirety of the Pokemon subreddit. But that's all it is. It's just people.
What? What? Oh my gosh, I can become famous on the Pokemon subreddit? I don't understand why I would want that, but alright.
Only going there to be outraged and mad at Pokemon, and then now they're just stuck in an insignificant echo chamber. I really hope Game Freak does not cave in any way to these brats, because that's all that this is right now. They're making
either, because I don't want a new Pokemon Direct in a week or two. It's like, due to recent developments, we've decided to bring back the National Dex, and the games won't be coming out till November of 2020. Because that's probably what would happen.
Lies about Game Freak, they're misrepresenting things, and then they're just jumping onto nonsense. Because while we have people like this, we also have other 3D character artists that are saying, cut Game Freak some slack, because they're joining in on the 5-minute Pokemon render. So let's check it out. 5-minute Pokemon, The Thread. I do not know Game Freak's pipeline for characters, but this is how I would go about making Sceptile in 5-minute bursts. High poly, which is only the first step in making a game-ready character. 5-minute Pokemon render, and again, we can just kind of go into the whole Twitter and check out some more later, but this is kind of going into a nice little thread about how long it takes to make a Pokemon.
Thank you. Thank you. A 3D artist coming out and saying, you know what, maybe we should not all get on Game Freak for not having omnipotent powers over the Nintendo Switch. Maybe we should realize that there's more to life than a children's game. Thank you. And that's going to be it for this Verlisify video. If you want a part 4, tell me in the comments, because I probably am going to do it. I want to start a series. I'm going to start a series on Verlisify. I would have done a second video on Onision, and I want to review one of his books eventually, but I have a feeling that if I do that, I'm going to get a copyright claim and a copyright strike from him. So, you know what? Maybe not on Onision, but Verlisify I will. Comment down below if you want that. Verlisify finally had a good point. That's a rare saying. But subscribe. Bye, lol.